Worked on set today on a show called The 100. I've said this in previous videos. What we did today, I'm considered now one of the Arkers. So one of the Arkers, if you've ever watched the show, is one of the survivors left on Earth. There's a bunch of different groups of people, and anyways, so the group of 100 became Arkers eventually, kind of. So anyways, that's what I was doing today, working on the show. I can't give you any details because it's covered by non-disclosure agreements and all that legal paperwork and everything like that. It was a lot of fun. That's really all about, that's all I could say. I can't even tell you if I have a character name. Well, maybe I can. Maybe in the first season. I don't know. You can see that there's a character name for me. Anyways, I'm not supposed to talk about anything. I might have said too much. I doubt it. Everything should be good. And we're in North Vancouver, and since we've wrapped so early, it's about 1:15 or so. I am making my way up to go snowboarding. A lot of people hate on Grouse Mountain because of the lack of number of runs. There aren't very many runs up at Grouse Mountain. There's I don't know, there's 4 chairs, and in between those there's maybe like a dozen runs or something like that. But whatever. That doesn't matter. It's what you make of the circumstance, right? That's what the real what's it called? That's where the real fun comes into play. Is no matter how good or bad something is, it's up to you to make it good or bad. It's like skateboarding. If you, like, for example, I lived near a park called Douglas Park, and at the park there's a basketball area, and there still is. This is when I was younger. There is a basketball area, and yeah, a basketball area and some benches to skate on. Now you could say that sucks, and you can look at the negative, and you can think to yourself, oh my goodness, there's nothing to skate here, this place sucks. Or you can just skate the heck out of those benches, practice flatland stuff. I don't know. Like, I know that I could probably spend hours and hours on end snowboarding, except for that I get a little bit bored being alone, so that's why I don't spend so much time. I'm sure if I had a couple friends who were like, wanted to be at the mountain for 5 hours at a time, I would be there for 5 hours at a time, but I don't have friends like that. So anyways, like if you're on like a green or even less hill, like if you're just on a beginner hill snowboarding, you can practice butters. You can practice switch. You can practice doing trick switch. You can practice ollieing switch. You can practice 180s and 360s on flatland and stuff like that. There's always something to do, and there's always something to get better at. And sometimes I complain, and sometimes I think that, oh man, this sucks, there isn't much to do or whatever. Not though when it comes to grouse. I don't know. I like grouse. I like the proximity to where I live. I like the price, and it's like there are some black diamond runs. They consider them black diamond. Whoa, camera. And time for me to go. So there are some black diamonds and some double black diamond runs. I don't know. I like those kind of things, but they're not necessarily my favorite type of like obstacles to go snowboarding. I just like regular runs, and to do like, I don't know, like small park stuff, really small park stuff. I'm not very confident this season. My legs are super weak. So yeah, and that just makes me not very confident with snowboarding. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, making the best of the situation. So sometimes we get to set, and as a backgrounder, you've got to be in the rain, you got to be in the wet, you got to be in the cold, and sometimes it sucks. Even as an actor, that happens. But sometimes it sucks, but you really have to make the best out of it, and it's your choice to make it good or bad. And yeah, I try to be positive. I try to choose to make things good and choose to be surrounded by great people. Yeah, and choose to see the good in all that's happening. Sometimes, though, it's difficult. But anyways, I don't know what else to talk about right now. I'm so stoked to be going to the mountain. I'm happy that we were kind of off early. I do like working longer days, don't get me wrong. I would consider myself a workaholic at the stuff that I like doing. So, oh my goodness, this camera is dropping. I gotta get a better mount for the car. It's just laying on the dash here. Yeah, when there's work to be done, I really like working. I like doing the best job that I can do for the job that I'm doing. I listen to different motivational speakers and different people who inspire me or who I want to draw inspiration from. So whether that be millionaires, billionaires, captains of industry, you could call them, or CEOs, or people who've started businesses and all that kind of stuff. And one thing that I learned from my grandfather is that, and maybe I didn't learn it from my grandfather necessarily directly, but in the way that he worked, he was definitely a workaholic. He worked he owned bakeries. In our family, we've had 3 bakeries, and I'm a 3rd generation baker. And yeah, he worked from 4 a.m. until closing most of the time, until he started getting too old. And he stopped working when he was about 90 years old. He retired and he couldn't take it, and after maybe 5-10 years, I'm not sure exactly, he decided to open up another bakery, and then that lasted from 1997 up until 2014 or something like that. And yeah, he just wanted to work. That might not be that's not what I want to do. I don't want to have a job where I'm working just to bring home some money, but I do like working. And I do believe in doing the best job that I can do for the work that I'm given. One thing that I learned though about myself is that I'm not very good at like having fun at work per se, or taking things not so seriously, because I do take things very seriously sometimes, a lot of the time. Okay, dismiss that, turn that off. But yeah, one thing that I learned is that it's not your dad's business or whatever. It was some sort of saying like that. Meaning that I was working so hard, and when people around me weren't working, I was getting annoyed with them. So it made the work environment unpleasant for people around me and for myself. And I learned that about 2.5 years ago, I was working during the summer for a campaign for Nestea. So we were handing out cans of Nestea for free to people. And when people weren't working, it was a group of us. When they weren't working hard, I got grumpy and I got annoyed. And I found that that was a selfish thing that I was doing. And I told the people I was working with to call me out on it, to say, Nestor, it's not your dad's business, because it wasn't. And it was a very relaxed job, and it was a job to have fun at. It was just a promotional, gig, and that's all it was. It was to make the people there enjoy the drink and to just share what that product was. But at the same time, I do like doing the best job that I can when I'm given a task to do. So if I'm, asked to I don't know, I can't think of an example right now. Let's see. I can't think of. Okay, we like on the truck, we had to empty a moving truck of cans of Nestea, put them in a big giant like bucket kind of thing on wheels, and wheel it out and hand out the cans of Nestea. And I would do it in like such a robotic, methodical way that I just wanted to get done as quick as possible, because that was part of the job. You want to get as many cans into people's hands as possible while still maintaining the experience for the people participating. And I was just about efficiency and faster, and it made it unpleasant. But at the same time, I was very efficient at my job, and that's what I like doing. I like being very efficient. I like doing things to the best of my ability. Man, I'm trying to articulate something which I am unable to do because my mind is fixated on trying to get onto that gondola. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I just like doing the best job that I possibly can. And there is um, a boss sits behind the desk. There's some like picture or meme on the internet that I've seen and that I've shared on my Facebook, that a boss sits behind a desk and he tells his workers what to do, expecting them to do it. And a leader goes and does the job and leads by example and shows the workers how to do things, and isn't afraid to get their hands messy, and isn't afraid to expect the best from everyone else when they are doing the best themselves. And I hope to be that kind of leader in any business that I have or any venture that I take, is to do the best that I can to the best of my ability and to lead by example. Obviously, I'm a human being, and obviously I make mistakes and I'm not the best of character. I try to be. I have old ways of thinking that I've learned from my parents and grandparents and different people around me. And there's just things that I have to fix, and when I realize that I'm doing something weird or backwards or something, then I work on that as part of my character. But yeah, that's what I want to be, is that when people see me, if I own a business and say I'm printing t-shirts or whatever the situation is, I take the t-shirt, I print it the best that I can, the best of my abilities, and lead by example. And I don't know if it makes any sense, but that's something that I'm working on, is to be the best that I can be as an example. Now, it stresses me out a lot, and that's another thing I have to work on, because being the best, but then also being stressed the most, is definitely not the best. So I've got to be the best, but then be the happiest. So I've got to tread that fine line of self-evaluation and self-criticism and self-happiness, and being happy with myself. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I tend to ramble a lot, and I just keep talking and talking and talking. I talk and talk and talk and talk a lot with friends who I'm comfortable with. This is just a camera talking to nobody. Probably talking to 0 views on YouTube. But I find that it's therapeutic in ways. Now I have another tangent that I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to get my snowboard gear on. I'm going to go snowboarding, and maybe I'll take some pictures. And I will record some stuff later. I love coming here. I love being at Grouse. I like being in the mountains. Grouse is so beautiful sometimes. Most of the time I would say it's beautiful, unless it's like you have really crazy cloud coverage. But I don't think there are too many mountains they can go to be skiing or snowboarding and have this view. Holy crap, this looks so good. This is quite literally the next run. The sun is out, clouds are all gone. I don't know. What can beat this? What can beat this? I don't know, maybe no, nothing can. This is my sister's cat, Crooks. And I think I saw a mouse the other day. And I will take no precautions. Or I will take all precautions. And I decided to have him come over for the evening. Whoa. And Bambi and Crooks get along pretty well. Crooks has grown quite a bit since the last time I saw him. Yeah, so, hey Crooks. Hey Bambi. Good boy. So I decided to get Crooks into here, and I brought his, what's it called, litter box and all that kind of stuff, and he's going to stay tonight and then stay most of the day tomorrow. And then me and Sam are going to go snowboarding in the evening, late afternoon, evening. But apparently one of the best things you can do if you have a mouse in your house is to get a cat. And it's not that you want the cat to spray. This is what I've read online. This isn't like, I'm not like an expert or anything. You don't want the cat to spray all over the place. But apparently when the kitty litter or the cat litter box is there, then the cats, or then the mice, sorry, or mouse, or whatever, then they don't come by because they smell that there's a predator around. So that's why I have brought Crooks over. Go say hi. Where's Crooks? So yeah, so that's why I brought Crooks over. I asked my sister and she said it was totally cool. I think any cat would love to chase down a little mouse, and I don't know, they don't necessarily kill them right away. Apparently they just like play around, bat them around, and kind of bully them. So I'm gonna leave the doors open to the rooms, and hopefully if Crook smells a mouse, he'll jump on the mouse, pounce on it, and get rid of the freaking mouse. So, yeah. And Bambi really enjoys having a friend, which is good, because I believe he gets a little lonely, and a lonely dog, lonely anything isn't good. Bambi's so excited he just wants to play with Crooks. Crooks is just exploring. Oh, Bambi's trying to be dominant. So dogs, when they try to be dominant over another dog, or I guess in Bambi's case here, over Crooks, they try and hump the other dog. Sometimes. Well, Bambi does that, and a lot of other dogs do that. Maybe it's just neuter dogs who do that. I'm not sure, but Bambi definitely does that. Typical Bambi. Hey guys, how's it going? Well, I'm happy, Bambi's happy. Well, Bambi's happy usually, but he gets a little lonely. So, yeah, that's pretty nice that he gets to play. Anyways, I don't really know what else to talk about. Records. I used to DJ, and I taught myself how to DJ with like a really, really shitty record player. Like, you used to be able to get a stereo system, and it had like a tape deck, and then a radio, and then a record player, all built into one, and it was like the size of a record, like the footprint of it, and then about the height of, it was about like 1.5 feet high, made of plastic. Speakers are plastic, usually all pretty crappy quality. But I taught myself how to scratch with it. I bought myself a really cheap mixer from Radio Shack, and I wasn't very good at scratching. And yeah, then I would like cut back and forth from a tape deck to the turntable, and then eventually I got another crappy turntable, so I had these two really crappy turntables. And if I'd tried scratching, like in any capacity that was like to get any better, the record would skip a lot. So I don't know if I read this trick, but certainly I saw this trick in like a video or something. No, maybe not a video. I think I read it in like a magazine. One way to keep the needle down on the record was to put like a dime or a penny or a nickel on the cartridge, so that it wouldn't skip. And yeah, that's how I learned to scratch records. And I used to buy a lot of records. I don't have a record player, so I don't buy records, but I do actually love records. Yeah, maybe I'll buy a record player. That'd be pretty nice. I had a set of Technics. I've had some Newmark record players. I've had some crappy record players. Yeah, and then I DJ'd with the records for a long time, and then I switched from that to records and CDs. And then I never really got into Serato and all that kind of stuff, because I don't like it. I don't like Serato. I don't know. I get like that's the future or whatever it was at the time,
it is like the way things are done, but I personally like scratching with actual records. I like playing actual records. I um like what's it called? Beat juggling and beat matching with actual records. I think there's a different type of skill set when it comes to that kind of stuff. But that's like obviously like an old school skill set to have. Um, the DJs nowadays are so rad how because you can like pre-program so much of what you're gonna do. Not saying that's a bad thing, but you can pre-program where you're gonna cut in and all that kind of stuff, and you can beat match almost perfectly. And yeah, DJing nowadays is incredible. Um, but when I was learning how to DJ and learning how to scratch and beat juggle and all that kind of stuff, it was with actual records. It was with a set of Technics with an actual like analog RCA outs. Um, yeah, it was crazy. It was so much fun. My records are actually at my grandma's house because my sister had them there. I don't have very many records. I have a few records that I really like. Hopefully, they're in decent condition still. I should go pick them up. Anyways, records and DJing. I love records. I love music. I love DJing. Um, I haven't done anything really like that in a long time. Um, I went to school for it was a sound design program at a school here in Vancouver, a private institution. I would never recommend it to anybody, so I don't want to tell you where I went. It's a lousy school, but I learned some things there that I didn't know beforehand. Um, I learned that you probably should not pay to go to school, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. I say humble again. I said humble a couple videos ago. So stupid. In my opinion, I don't think you should pay to go to school to learn something. At the time, I couldn't learn. Like I could learn online, I suppose, if I really wanted to, but it was not at all anything like it is today. That you can just go onto YouTube, um, search basically anything you want to learn and learn it. At the time, it like going to school was part of the thing that people did. Um, I really learned to use Pro Tools to a professional level. Um, I haven't used Pro Tools in a couple of years, but I guess it's like a staple for music production, sound design, and editing and all that kind of stuff for sound. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I went to school for sound design, for recording music, for mixing, and all like music production kind of sound design. I guess sound design, music production, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, I was really um, into that kind of, into that thing or what, into that kind of life. I guess I don't know, into pursuing that. I guess I didn't really want to pursue it because my mom had a boyfriend at the time who worked at a sound studio, and he was a recordist, and there was a Foley studio there, and he told me to go and bring my resume and just introduce myself and go to school and go there and get a job and volunteer and stuff like that. But it's not really my thing. It's a very lonesome thing I find to to be in a. Can't be so hilarious. I find it lonely to be in a studio, um, mixing, recording, and all that kind of stuff. And to be truthful, I would rather be the one making the music, and being the DJ and expressing myself. And I would really rather do that. And I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. I'm not very good at music production, I would say, mostly because I don't practice. I'm not there every day at the computer trying to make a new beat, trying to make new drums, trying to program all this kind of stuff, trying to learn new melodies and all that kind of stuff. I don't put my heart into that, so that's why I'm not very good at it. Um, yeah, but but that's something that I really really enjoy is is music and sound. So yeah, so I worked at a friend's basement studio. He had a in his parents' basement. He had his turntables. He had his Pro Tools set up, the computers, um, like a like it's just like very homemade, but it was still his studio. And I worked there for like 4 years, I suppose. We just kept like not every day, just he would call me on like a Monday. He'd be like, "Hey, you want to come to my studio and hang out for a few hours, and we'll record some stuff, and then and do whatever." And we did that for about 4 years, I would say, off and on, recording different songs, different tracks. He was a DJ, and that was mostly what it was. He would be DJing, but then I would record the whole session. And there's not a lot to it. As a recordist, there are tips and tricks that you can learn to make the sounds better and to be a better recordist. But in my opinion, there's not a lot to it. You just figure it out. And maybe for some people it's easier. For me, I found it was easy, quote unquote easy. I feel I was decent. I don't know if I was really great or if I was poor. I don't think I was poor. I don't think I was great though. Um, I think I did a job well enough that any regular person listening to the music wouldn't say, "Hey, this sucks." They say, "Hey, this sounds pretty good." So yeah, I did that for about 4 years, maybe longer, and I really liked it, but I wasn't getting paid, like, if anything at all, which was fine. Like that wasn't necessarily the point of going there. He was a really good friend of mine. He had a kid, and his house was nice, and all that kind of stuff, and we had fun together. We've lost touch, and we haven't talked in maybe 5 years, which sucks. He was really a nice person. He is a nice person. Um, but anyways, yeah, I worked in his basement studio for about 4 years, and it was just me and him, just pounding out song after song after song, um, and it was lots of fun, but it's lonely. Like I get it when they're in music videos or in interviews and whatever, they're like they have weed at the studio. I don't smoke weed or anything like that. Obviously, like people think that I wear a Van City weed shirt or sweater or hoodie or whatever you call it, but this is just a freedom of expression. That's why I wear this. I believe completely in freedom of expression and freedom of speech. And if you're gonna tell someone not to do something, I think you're pretty messed up. I wear this because of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, and because I think it pushes people's buttons, and I think that people's buttons need to be pushed and pushed and pushed until they stop being such prudes and start realizing what freedom actually is, if that makes any sense at all. So anyways, yeah, I get that when they want to smoke weed in the studio, they want to drink, they want to have girls around, they want to have their friends around, because it gets so lonely to me. I like being around people. I like being in social situations. I don't talk a lot in social situations because I like listening to people. But yeah, it gets lonely. So yeah, so anyways, I stopped doing that, and then I moved into um well, like I transitioned, I guess, into working on set more. And I like working on set. And every so often I get and uh, I keep getting some phone calls every once in a while to go and to boom up for different shows and stuff like that. And like it's cool. Sound is rad. I really really like sound and recording and what you can do with sound in different productions. But it is so lonely, I find. Like grips on movie sets, grips, there's like, I don't know, 10, 15 grips, maybe more, maybe less, but they all get together and they're all friends. Electrics, a bunch of guys again. Props, usually a bunch of people. Costumes, a bunch of people. Hair and makeup, a bunch of people. Actors, a bunch of people. Backgrounders, a bunch of people. The production crew is a whole bunch of teams put together. The director and the assistant directors, all of that team. The wranglers usually hang out with the backgrounders, and then sound. There's like 2 or 3 sound dudes, and They're really, really nice people usually. They're some of the nicest people on set, I would say. Well, I guess it depends. There's nice and there's mean and nice people in all departments. But the sound guys is like two, usually two, sometimes three sound guys, and they're just talking back and forth through the mics to each other. So the boom guys on set talking into the mic to the recordist or to the on set or to the production mixer. The production mixer is talking back to the boom op. Like, it's so lonely, and I can't take it. I really can't take that whole, like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do 20, 30 years of just hanging out with me and one other person on set. That's why I choose not to do it. I love it. I really do love the job, but I love being social more than the job. Anyways, I rant a lot and I talk a lot. I'm sure these videos are going to get less ranty, and I don't know. Maybe I just have a lot in my head that I need to talk about. Maybe I should get some friends to talk to them. But then I would have nothing to say here. Anyways, I'm going to go and I'm going to have some grapefruit juice and I'm going to get ready to go to sleep and then watch something on Netflix. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Love life.